Creating an Outline by Jennifer Kiesler, Kaiser. The first thing you should know about creating an outline is that it is only possible to create an outline if you have knowledge about your subject. Therefore, steps 1 and 2 of writing an outline are about getting this knowledge. Step 1 is brainstorming. That means generating ideas on the topic. Step 2 is researching. That means seeking out information on the topic. Step 3 is the organization that begins with the writing of your outline. A good outline should make writing your paper or preparing your speech easy. The first step of creating an outline is brainstorming. That is, you have to get the ideas out of your head and onto your paper so you can begin researching and organizing them. There are several ways you can guide your brainstorming. You can cluster, list, or make a relationship tree. In a cluster, seen here, you put your topic down on paper and then identify subtopics. For example, the topic you were given was smoking, and you know that you want to write a paper to dissuade people from smoking. So when you think of smoking, just start writing down what else you think of. You may think of the cost of smoking, or the health dangers, or that it gives people bad breath. From those subtopics, you can create bubbles with even more supporting evidence. When you talk of health dangers, you might think of cancer or heart disease. Just keep writing down whatever it is that pops into your mind when you think of smoking. Ultimately, you will not use all of these ideas, but they are important for beginning to focus your topic. Another way you can move ideas from your head onto a piece of paper is to create lists. Lists are especially useful when identifying pros and cons of a particular subject. A third way to identify your ideas is to make a relationship tree. Similar to the cluster, a tree gets your main topic and subtopic down the paper, and then draws arrows to identify how your ideas are related to or associated with one another. Research requires you to look at your ideas and then ask questions, read materials, and focus. Questions that you ask yourself while researching are usually the typical who, what, where, when, why. The research will provide you some of the answers. You will also need to understand your purpose for writing the paper. Is it to persuade or to explain? Is it to illustrate or examine? The answers to these questions will help you focus your research. Remember that good research requires sources. Notice, I just said sources with an S. One source is not research. You need to take information from multiple reliable sources and synthesize it. Basically, you need to find the common threads in the research and put them together in order to develop your argument or main points. Good research is thorough. Yes, this part is work, but what you will find is that you will write a much better paper more easily if you feel confident about your topic. And the number one way to feel confident is to back up your ideas with solid research. Two common obstacles students have when researching a paper is that they find too much information or too little information. If you find too much information, you need to narrow the focus of your topic. If your topic is smoking, and there is simply too much information on smoking, use the purpose of your paper to narrow your topic. Is the purpose of your paper to explain what effects smoking has on the body? Use that to narrow your focus to smoking and health impacts on the human body. Is your purpose to advocate against smoking ads placed on billboards near schools? Narrow your research to the impacts of smoking and media images on children. If you spend time researching and can't find anything on your topic, then the opposite is true. That usually means you need to either broaden or change your topic. Remember, as you research, make sure that you are always keeping track of your sources as you find them. It is not always easy to find the same sources a second time, and it ends up eating away at your time. The final step to creating an outline is to organize your ideas and research. All papers begin with an introductory paragraph and end with a conclusion. In between those paragraphs is the body of the paper. The body of the paper contains all of the evidence, information, and analysis that supports your main idea. A grabber is a topical sentence that grabs your audience's attention immediately. A good grabber will make your reader invested in reading the remainder of your paper because they will want to know more. Think about what grabs your attention and use that knowledge to open your paper with a statement that would interest you. More than likely, it'll interest your reader too. As you identify how you will grab your audience, the introduction needs to state your purpose. You do not do this by saying, "The purpose of the paper is." Instead, you identify why this topic is relevant, and that will betray the purpose to the reader. Finally, your introduction needs to include a thesis statement, or a main point. The thesis is the glue that holds the paper together. It either makes an assertion or takes a stance. It is not a fact, but it will be supported by factual evidence and analysis, and it is debatable. For instance, if your topic was smoking, and your purpose was to dissuade people from smoking, your thesis statement might look like this. Smoking is a serious problem that can lead to devastating physical, economic, and interpersonal consequences in people's lives. The information you outline in your supporting paragraphs will provide evidence to support your thesis statement. As I already mentioned, the thesis is the glue. Using the same thesis statement from the prior slide, your supporting evidence might include health issues, such as cancer and heart disease. It might include costs, which includes costs of a pack of cigarettes and costs of health insurance. This is where your research is necessary, because your thesis statement is your own work product, your own idea, but all of that research is going to be used to prove yourself right. Finally, you need to write down a few ideas for a concluding paragraph. A conclusion states nothing new. It is just a restatement and summary of points that are already made. Outlines provide the foundation of the paper. A well-researched and organized outline will make drafting your paper easy, and it will lead to a much better paper overall.